Hey everybody, welcome to the Morphin Grid. I'm Jake.
I'm Josh.
And today we are watching episode 19 of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Green with Evil Part 3, The Rescue.
Thank you, because I was like, Green with Evil Part 3, subtitled to be determined. It originally aired October 7th, 1993. Yeah.
So I guess we're going to watch it.
So we're going to watch it. If you're new here, let me explain what we do. Josh is giving me a face because he doesn't like my little bit that I do. Because he's a grumpy old man.
That's 100% accurate.
So if you are new here, what we do is we pause this recording, we watch the episode of Power Rangers, we come back, and then we talk about it at length. Sometimes it gets off the rails. We try to keep it on the rails as best we can, but we're not going to make any promises.
Usually if it goes off the rails, that episode deletes itself
Yeah.
anyway,
GarageBand just straight up eats that episode, so it works out. So without any further ado,
it's Morphin time! Then we're back.
We just watched Green with Evil Part 3, The Rescue, and it was a doozy. There was a lot that happened in the 20 minutes that the episode. Before we get started, though, if you would like to hang out with us on the internet, you can go to.
You can't because we don't have Google Plus.
We do. Because our emails.
Well, I guess technically we do.
So, if we had a lot of fans, we should do a Google Plus. If we ever hit like a lot,
We should get Facebook first.
yeah, let's try that.
We'll see.
Welcome to
When
planning out our future cast.
When our Twitter
Pops
gets more than 13
We're
followers.
up to 14. Doing pretty good.
All right, you're right. We're very successful.
Anyway, so our website is morphingrid.tumblr.com. Our email is littleidiots.morphingrid@gmail.com. And our Twitter that we were just talking about is @morphingrid. Those are the places that we are on the internet. Come hang out with us. Come talk to us. Also, if you got this via iTunes, which if I were a betting man, I would say you did. Because that's the easiest way to get this podcast.
Yep.
If you are there and you're bored and you're like, well, maybe I'll leave a review. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Rating a review.
We appreciate that.
You can join two other really cool people who gave us reviews. Pt.3. I really hope we're saying that right.
It's either Seiki or Saki, or Saki.
Saki?
I don't think it's Saki.
No, there's an E at the end, which throws me all off.
It's Sakie. So I'm going to say that's Seiki.
I mean, email us. If you're listening, email us.
You just email it, just the phonetic pronunciation.
Yeah. And schizophrenic. Both of them gave us pretty awesome reviews that were kind of humbling. It made me feel like I'm not screaming into the void, which I like. So let's just jump into the episode then.
Wee.
That was Josh jumping in. That's how old men have fun.
We just yell "wee" when we do it. Oh God!
All right, so
old.
so old. So we start off in the same place that we left off yesterday, which is with Jason about to be murked by Goldar in the Dark Dimension.
Yep.
Goldar has this sword pointed at Jason's face or chest, one of his vital areas, and is like, "I'm gonna hit you with this until you die." So he goes to stab at him.
Well, he doesn't stab at it. He has it in his face. He's waving it in his face.
He does a jab.
He pulls it up because he's like, when what Rita says, I must obey or whatever.
Right.
And then he swings it down. So instead of just stabbing him and murdering him, he gives him enough time to escape.
Right. But yeah, because he swings at him and Jason rolls out of the way. And then he does a really cool thing where he's hiding in the fog.
Which would be really cool if the fog wasn't obviously see-through.
Well, I mean, there was a good portion of it that wasn't. It's just you can't film when it was on Jason. It was in the less dense fog. There's a point where Goldar is like standing right over Jason,
You could see him.
and yeah, he would.
It's not that foggy.
No.
Like from a distance, maybe.
It's
like,
magic fog. Okay, shows up better.
It's magic against the bad guys in their dimension. It's terrible planning.
Look, it's not perfect.
Obviously,
they're not
or
great.
Jason would be dead if it was perfect bad fog.
Obviously, he'd be dead a couple times.
There'd always be an opening where he's crawling around.
Oh, it's there. Stop it. Stop it, Jason. So then we cut up to the moon where Rita is like, I'm going to get Scorpina because she's a bad dude. She's going to kill everybody. So she calls Scorpina, and we get this like little
It's a promotional vignette
promotional vignette
to
for
get
Scorpina.
hype. To get hype for Scorpina. I almost called her Stampeda.
Stampeda. Well, it's a boulder.
It's a boulder rolling through the Mushroom Kingdom.
and then upstairs in Tokyo. And like at one point it zooms in and they're like it's on the boulder, I think.
And the boulder is breathing.
And the boulder is breathing and it's about to give birth to Scorpina. And there's scorpions crawling on it. And then it just like pops up. Then the scorpion just walks into the moon. Like into the main room at Club Pandora. Like
Well, it ends on a picture of her from the Zoo Ranger footage where she is giant because she's standing over a hill. Like
right. It's a little
that's how
weird.
the vignette ends. It's like Scorpina, and it has it in a nice logo type.
Debuting soon. She's coming for your title, AJ. Watch out.
Because at this point, Rita's plan is, I'm going to get all the baddest people that I've ever met and attack the Power Rangers.
Yeah, because she says
with them.
she says something about how like Scorpina's like one of the meanest people she knows.
Yeah.
So this is a person that is not made of clay.
Yes.
And therefore would co-star in Evil Space High.
Absolutely.
Which is our spin-off series about how Rita became so evil.
There's a high school that teaches that.
It's a high school that teaches how to be
Madame
bad.
Woe and Scorpina are there.
So is Goldar.
Diva Talks.
Squat and Babu.
Diva Talks the freshman.
Later, yeah, like season 2, she'll come in. Zed's there. Zed's going to be a transfer student later. He's from
remember when Brandon Stroud said that Batista's head already looks like a brain?
Yes.
I laughed so hard for so long.
Oh, when he starts putting together... I don't know who Savannah is. I'll have to look that up. Because Savannah can come back and be Rita Repulsa.
Right, I don't know who that is either.
I don't know. So
Anyway,
look that up.
I'm stopping wrestling.
If you start talking about wrestling, it's going to go way differently than you expect. So yeah, Evil Space High coming to CW this fall. Back down on Earth, in the command center, the other 4 Rangers who have retreated after narrowly not being killed.
Right.
You know, they narrowly dodge being killed by just the Green Ranger by himself with no help and just a new sword.
Yep. New sword with much power.
So much power.
That Ranger has power.
Shut it down. Shut it all down.
All right.
Alpha is like fiddling with some control panel because they've got it like up and running, just not like well. Like they have the sub generator on. The regular generator is still down.
Right. The sub generator has apparently limited power.
Yeah.
As opposed to the infinite energy of the regular one.
Well, it draws right from the Morphin grid.
Right.
So there's a million energies in the Morphin grid. So Zordon is like kind of like blinking in. Like they have like not a lock on him, but they're like, oh, we kind of found his signal. So like Zordon is like beaming him via RSS feed to the command center, I guess. Is that how that works? I thought the tube was just a screen directly to the dimension.
They're so inconsistent with how Zordon exists.
Like, yeah, how he works that they never get the same thing right. Like, it's never the same twice.
In the end, he is the tube. His energy is in the tube.
Yeah, he's just stuck in there.
Because in Space Spoilers, when they break it, he dies.
Yeah, and goodness
so it's not
washes
just
over people.
Yeah, it's not just an interdimensional viewing tube.
Right.
It's a life tube with a Zordon in it.
With a Zordon in it. Then it is. Right now, it's apparently it can't get this.
They can't find the frequency that Zordon's on.
Zordon station's not coming in. Fiddling with the knobs, and he's just not there.
It's like trying to watch a pay-per-view in the old days.
Right.
It's all scrambled, but you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can hear it clear as day.
That was always nice. So you get, oh, look, they can listen to Halloween Havoc 98. So they're like, we still can't get a lock on Jason either. And Zach goes, okay, we got to split up to find him. Which Zach doesn't know that Jason's been kidnapped into the demon face space cage. But if you can't find him with your communicator, like, your options of how to find him are pretty limited.
Yeah.
Right? And they show that they only go to one place to find him.
Got to split up. Kimberly's going to take Angel Grove Park.
No, Kimberly goes to the juice bar.
I'm making this up.
Right.
Billy's going to take that cave.
Right.
Trini is hitting the abandoned warehouse district, and Zach is going to check the dark dimension, see if
see if he's there. He's going to pop on over to the dark dimension, just see if he's there, whatever. So then we come back to the dark dimension, the aforementioned dark dimension, and Jason is, like, dodging still, and this is when, like, Goldar is standing on top of him.
Goldar, there's a shot where he looks and he's like, yeah. Like, this is the sweet spot. This is where he
and
is.
Then he stabs and misses barely.
Because Jason moves his head slightly.
Yeah.
So if it was a little lower, he still would have got it in his barrel chest.
Right. And then, like, so he stabs him and he goes, oh, guess he's not here. And then he steps over Jason. But in a way that, like, the guy in the suit is trying not to step on Austin St. John. Like,
right, yeah.
It's like, you should just practice once or twice.
Just walked a different way.
I don't know. But then Jason pops up behind Goldar.
Because Goldar is taunting him.
And doesn't attack him right away.
Pops up and goes, ah!
And he goes, bet you never thought you'd be outsmarted by a human. And Goldar goes, no human has ever defeated me. And, like,
Jason says, I'm going to change
that. As soon as Jason popped up, the only thing I could think of is Austin St. John, circa 1993, would have been awesome in a Double Dragon TV show.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, he would have been the greatest Billy Dragon.
I'm on board for that 1,000,000%.
Like, I was like, oh, yeah, let's do it. Him and Jason David Frank.
Perfect.
It would have been great. Anyway, but that didn't happen. So
it's Billy Dragon and Chuck Dragon.
And Chuck Dragon. the Double Dragon Brothers.
The Double Dragon
Double
Brothers.
Dragon Brothers. Oh, book it. So then we cut down to the juice bar.
Okay.
Or cut over, because I don't know how to describe where the dark dimension is, so I say cut down.
It's a different dimension.
Yeah, so cut to
the juice bar, because it might even occupy the same space in a different dimension.
We don't know.
Who knows?
They never say, because it's just the dark dimension. I thought it was when I first saw it, I thought it was like the spinning Daily Planet globe on top of Club Pandora. Like, that's where I thought the dark dimension was. It was just a cage on the top.
Right.
But it's not, I guess.
Nope.
But
no, that's just a disco ball.
But we'll get to it in a minute, how that's not a super far off theory, because there's a weird thing that happens in a couple minutes. But anyway, we're in the juice bar where Kimberly's like, Ernie, have you seen Jason? And he's like, no, usually he comes here.
Ernie's back. We haven't seen Ernie in a few episodes.
It's been at least 2 Ernie-less episodes, maybe 3. I don't remember if Switching Places had it. I don't think so.
I don't remember.
I don't think he was in Switching Places either.
That was way too long ago.
That was like a month ago. Like an actual month. So, I mean, for us, for you, it was last Monday. Anyway.
Yeah.
Ernie's back. Has not seen Jason, because Jason has not stopped by the juice bar.
Has not taught his karate class in days.
Yeah, which is unlike him. Did they say that? Did he say yes?
No, I just made that up.
Okay.
But I mean, he teaches his karate class at the juice bar.
Right.
We don't know when. We don't know if it's daily,
weekly. I imagine he just goes there every day and, like, works out unless kids want to learn karate. Like, you know? But then Bulk and Skull show up. And they're like, oh, we can help you find him. But it'll cost you.
Missing people is our specialty.
Because they are kidnappers.
Are our specialty?
Missing
people are our specialty.
Yes.
Missing people is our specialty. That's not right.
No. Even though technically
Missing people
is one thing.
is a subject.
Yeah.
Is a single
so it
subject.
could be is, but it does not sound right. Welcome to Grammarcast. So they're like, it's going to cost you, though. And she goes, what? And Skull's like, we received payment.
They're like, we work for cheap.
Oh, right, okay. And Skull's like, yeah, we accept payment in kisses.
It cuts to Ernie for a second before he says that. He just kind of laughs at him.
Cheap.
We accept payment in kisses.
And then so Kimberly goes,
Foreshadowing here is tremendous.
It is astonishing. So then so Kimberly goes, okay. And Ernie's like, don't do it, Kim. Like he's watching the show.
He's like, you gross.
Like he's watching it along.
He's reaching out, no.
At his TV, don't do it. Oh my god. So she's like, close your eyes. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And so he starts leaning in for the kiss. And she just moves and like kind of pushes him into Skull or into Bulk.
Who's laughing. He's like, she's going to do it. My boy's getting kissed. And then right on the cheek.
Then he gets kissed on the cheek and hates it.
That's so...
So he has to beat up Skull. So they run away. They're not mad at Kimberly for tricking him, because they're not very bright. So their problems are very, compartmentalized.
Right.
So they run away, and then Tommy is there.
He's leaving. Because Kim bumps into him.
Because even Evil needs to get a good workout in.
He needs to practice his karate. He's got to fight the Power Rangers, which I don't think he knows who they are yet.
He does, because in the first episode, after Rita kidnaps him, she's like, Jason, the Red Ranger.
You're right. Okay. So he does know.
That's why he put Jason in the Dark Dimension. Not just like, I don't like you, Dark Dimension.
I'm so dumb that I'm an idiot. Anyway, Kimberly's leaving, bumps into Tommy, and she turns around. She's like, oh, sorry. Oh, hey, Tommy. Like,
right.
She's just going to apologize to a random guy, but then it was Tommy. And she's like, hey. For a minute, her eyes turned into hearts.
Cartoon hearts again, yeah.
And then he immediately breaks them.
Throws them on the ground, steps on him.
Because she asks him if he's seen Jason.
And he's like, yeah, you know what? We were supposed to meet after school, but he didn't show.
He never showed.
He's like chewing the scenery hard.
Let me guess, Kim. You're worried. Because that's what you do, isn't it?
That's a really weird way to make fun of somebody.
You worry about your best friends, don't you, Kim? That's so stupid.
It's also kind of effective because she is taken aback. And
I think it's just the way that he's talking to her.
Yeah.
She's like, whoa, man, come on.
I said 4 words to you. Like, so then Zach bumps into Tommy because Zach's coming around the corner because he checked the park. Jason wasn't there. That's the only places. The park.
That's it.
Because he wouldn't be in the abandoned warehouse district unless there's a monster fight there. Or just the warehouse district at this point.
Maybe he goes there to fight poxes. Like he practices in abandoned warehouses.
Maybe he goes there and just like scopes out like the landscape.
Right.
Like, oh, if we're near this building, I can hit him with that big tower thing.
Knock him into it.
Yeah.
Right, I can rip that antenna off of that dysfunctional...
Thwack him with it. So Zach is like, oh, hey, man. And Tommy just doesn't say anything and walks away.
He like checks Zach out. It's a little weird. Hey, Tommy, what's up? And Tommy just scopes him from head to toe and then leaves.
Sizing up the enemy, man. So then he leaves. Zach's like, that's weird. Whatever.
Right.
And Kimberly tells Zach what Tommy told her about Jason, and he's like, that's weird because I know Jason was at school.
Right.
How? What? Whatever.
They had a class together or whatever.
He's like, oh, maybe he said, I'm going to go meet Tommy after school today to work out to Zach. And he's like, you should meet up later or whatever.
Right, yeah.
And Zach's like, I need to go sit on a car with Kimberly or something. I don't know. Whatever. Not the point. Their class schedules are not important.
Because Jason couldn't work out. So maybe Zach was like, no, we got to fix the command center. And Jason's like, you're right. I'll meet you at the garage.
Yeah, he's like, let me just tell Tommy that I can't then.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Boom. See that? Putting silly putty on these holes.
Silly putties.
Silly putties.
They're all kind of silly, aren't they?
They are a little silly. They are.
And then the episode's over.
That's it. That's all the Power Rangers. Thanks for listening to the Morphin Grid.
Yep. Morphin Grid over.
So then we go back up to the moon where Goldar is talking. But Goldar is not there. It's just Goldar's voice is like, "Yeah, Green Ranger," rah, rah." And then Rita's like,
I didn't catch that.
And then Rita's like, "You're right," and then goes to watch Kimberly and Zach chase after Tommy.
Oh, right, yeah, because Goldar, who is still fighting Jason
still
in the dark dimension, is now back on the moon for a second, because he says, I think the Pink Ranger is suspecting something, even though Kimberly said nothing to suggest that.
Right.
Kimberly's only upset because turns out Tommy's a jerk.
Right. And she doesn't like that.
No.
So Goldar immediately jumps to conclusions.
Okay, so this is what happens. I'm going to narrate this because I got a little bit I want to say about it, and I don't want to lose it.
Okay, go.
So Bandora, Rita, is like, oh, we can't have that. And they're just chasing after Tommy because Kimberly tells Zach, hey, you should talk to Tommy because I think he thinks I just am making up
trying
reasons
to get an
to talk
excuse
to
to
him.
talk to him, yeah.
So together they go to find Tommy. And now as they're approaching Tommy, Rita sends putties at them.
Right.
Which they weren't suspecting anything before, but now it's suspicious.
Right.
Because now they have to fight putties because
yeah.
even Zach's like, oh, great timing as Tommy walks up the hill in the distance. They dismantle the putties. They beat the putties up.
Right.
And then Kimberly's like, that is Tommy's hiding behind a bush and watching with an evil smirk on his face. Kimberly's like, it's weird. They didn't even attack Tommy. So now they're suspicious about Tommy, and they weren't before.
I did like that fight, though. I think Zach and Kimberly have like kind of complementary styles.
Yeah.
And
they're not necessarily fighting styles, but they're different athletic abilities
applied to
fighting.
And I think it works really well especially when they're the only two in a fight, and you can kind of like see how their like flips and stuff match up. It looks really neat. I really like this fight. Kimberly does this like she grabs one gently by the wrist and flips him all the way over.
Yeah.
Because their center of gravity is, I guess, right in their hips. And so
they're made of putty, so they might be really heavy in weird areas.
Right.
They might not be evenly distributed.
Not all of them is cooked, so some is like heavier than the others.
Some of them are a little mushy.
Got some water weight still. So then we go back to the dark dimension.
Yep.
Where Goldar still is.
He's back.
Has been the whole time. This is why I thought that the dark dimension could just be the disco ball on the top of Club Bandora, because
the clop of Tub Bandora.
Did I say that? Did I start saying that?
You started to say that, I think.
You're not the only one who's the worst here, Josh.
No, we're both equally worst in different ways.
In slightly different ways. So there could just be an intercom system where he's like, Rita, but he talked about Tommy, so Jason would know, which he doesn't.
It also showed Goldar.
No, it didn't.
It didn't?
No, it was just his voice.
You're right. It was like an exterior shot of Club Bandora.
Yeah.
You're right.
Power Rangers, you guys.
They just summoned Scorpina. Couldn't she have said it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Squat, who infiltrated the school to watch these kids. Couldn't he have said it? Oh, I think Kimberly is a little suspicious.
He's hiding behind like a
waka
lamp.
waka waka or whatever.
He's a little bit fuzzy, isn't he? But anyway, he's Jason and Goldar are about to square off for realsies.
Right.
But
because Goldar said, no human has ever defeated me. And Jason said, I'm going to change that. And Goldar kicked him in the chest and sent him to the ground.
Yeah. And he went, nope.
Also, Jason, is really sweaty. His panic and his stress level is very apparent.
He is sweating bullets. So he's knocked to the ground. Goldar's about to murk him. Just be like, whatever, done with this fight. And then Tommy teleports in. He goes, Goldar, wait. You gotta go. Rita told me.
Rita wants me to kill him.
Rita wants me to kill him because I'm prettier. So you gotta go.
Even though he has his terribly ugly shield on and his suit doesn't quite fit. It's a little wrinkly. His costume, excuse me.
Costume. Thank you very much.
His Green Ranger costume.
So Goldar's like, fine. And then leaves.
He just goes, yeah.
He doesn't
and
even
then
put up a
teleports
fight.
away.
Yeah. There was a point either in the last episode. No, it was earlier this episode where. Oh no, it's later this episode, so we'll get to it. Okay, sorry. Disregard. So Tommy shows up. Cut back to command center. Billy's got the communicators back online, and he's working on trying to find Jason with them because they have GPS in them or something.
Sure.
They ping Morphin grid. Then we go back to the moon where the whole gang is there, and they are not happy. Squat and Babu are not happy that Scorpina is around because she is the baddest dude in Revere.
Yeah.
She is.
Babu and Squat, they're covering their faces, remembering the terrible things that she used to do.
And they're like, oh, she's so awful. She's, she's so bad. She's killed everything, all this.
Right.
And then they're like, Babu's voice gets wrong for a second. I don't know if you noticed that.
I didn't.
It's one line, and it's just not the same voice at all. Like, I don't know what happened, but it was literally one line, and then it was fine again immediately afterwards. But they're like, I don't know, the Squatter Babu. They're like, just keep her away from me.
Yeah, keep her stinger away from me.
And then it the camera backs up a little bit, and she's right there.
She's basically like Goldar's got his arm around her because they're married in the stock footage.
Because in Z Ranger, they're married.
And she just goes, yeah.
That's her first line. Is yeah.
No, I think it's just like,
Yeah, it was. I like Scorpina.
I do too. It's a shame what happens.
So then we go back to the Dark Dimension where Tommy and Jason are fighting. Not just, Tommy kicking Jason in the face and,
Right.
Stop it. Get out of here.
Right.
Cut it out. And Jason, is holding his own, but then Tommy, gets the upper hand because he's morphed and that gives you more power.
Right.
At least that's how I think it works.
I don't know.
Or else,
I don't know.
If
I don't
it
know
doesn't,
how it works.
if it doesn't, what's the benefit of morphing?
I don't know.
Because
we talked about this too in Super Mega Force. You get the power of all the Rangers through the Ranger keys.
Yeah,
but how is the power from any Ranger different?
Right?
Than
Yeah.
the other?
How is Jungle Fury Yellow any different than
Wild Force Blue?
Than Wild Force. What's the difference?
They use a different weapon,
but the weapons are equally as effective.
Yeah.
Just
I think what it is when you're morphed, you can't call a Zord if you're unmorphed.
Right.
I'll
buy that.
You can't use your weapons if you're unmorphed. You don't have that. You're not on the morphing
right.
grid.
And it is sort of armor because there's explosions all the time.
It's definitely an armor.
And they don't never have soft tissue damage.
No MRIs required.
Not for them. I heard you guys watch that the other day.
We did.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, thank God I wasn't there for that. You guys can get it out of your system. I don't have to be a part of it.
I watch it again right now if you want.
I know. I don't want to.
I'd rather watch Ninja Turtles or Ghostbusters.
Yeah. We need to watch Ghostbusters soon.
All right, where were we?
Tommy's about to kill Jason.
Yeah, because Jason, he reached his morpher, but Tommy stomped on his hand.
Stomped on right on the forearm. And then he summons his Sword of Darkness. He's like, hey, you like my new sword? I'm going to kill you with it. And so he swings.
He slowly postures with it for a second.
Well, he's got Jason right where he wants him, And so he swings.
It's the downfall of every villain.
Yeah, it is.
They all have to gloat.
And monologuing, yeah. And so he swings down just as Billy saves the day.
Yeah, because there was a cut, I think right before the sword swing where Billy's like, I got the communicators back online. We can get Jason now.
Got him. Boom. And then he teleports in where he lands.
Because the communicators are also GPS devices.
Yeah, I said that 2 minutes ago.
You did?
Yeah.
I'm saying it again because I don't remember. So maybe they forgot. And I'm reminding them. It's for them, not me. Don't worry about it.
Okay, all right. No, I'll back you up on that. So he teleports in, and he's in the command center, but he's not in that circle. He's just outside in the hallway between two panels or computers, and he's covered in sweat.
His shirt is visibly wet.
Yeah, he has this huge because he's got that button-up tank top on still.
Right.
There is no what was Kimberly wearing this episode because it's the same thing as last episode. So refer to that.
Jason just has regular red pants on now without Sans black pockets.
Did he get rid of his black pockets?
Yep. I think they're red corduroys because they're a little darker shade of red.
When did he he changed for Jim. Into corduroys. Anyway,
what was I gonna say? Oh, when he teleports back in, like he lands on the floor and he's like, ah, because he
thinks he's about to
he thinks
die.
he's about to be dead, and then all his friends are there, and he's like, oh god, thank God. Yeah, so then he sits up, he leans against the computer because he needs to chill for a while.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And then he says, that was way too close, guys.
he was about to slice and dice me.
Green Ranger slice and dice me.
Then we cut up to the moon, where everyone's still there, except Tommy. Tommy's in the dark dimension. And they're like, what happened? How did you lose him? And they're like, you just teleported out. I don't know. And then Goldar's like scolding him.
Yeah, he's like, you had him right where you wanted him. He's like, he was teleported out. Goldar should have been like, you could have killed him 100 times.
But then Tommy could have been like, so could you have.
Right.
Like,
that's what I wish there was more banter between those two. I want to reboot Power Rangers just so I can make them be a little competitive with each other.
yeah, more adversarial. Yeah. Yeah, I did like that they're finally showing that Goldar's not sold on Tommy.
Yeah.
Like, he was just kind of putting up a front for Rita, but now he's like, no, he's a scrub. He's worse than me. Like, he's, you know.
He said he's worse than me. Like, oh, he's so bad.
He's so bad. He's worse than I am.
You should have been, I'm better than him. This is the better way
Well,
to sell yourself.
Goldar's not very smart. He would definitely say he's worse than me.
You're right.
So then we go back to the command center real quick, where they are sort of piecing it together because they're like, oh, I saw Tommy, then all of a sudden I was in this weird place. And Kimberly's like, Tommy said that you didn't show up. And they're like, that's weird. And like, it looks like they're about to think
because Jason's like, that's weird. And then they're thinking for a second, and he shakes his head. He's like, well, anyway.
And then Zordon starts blinking in again.
Yep.
And he's just static. And they're like, what is going on? And then
he's on just for enough time to say, Rangers, can you hear me?
And they're like, yeah. And he's like,
found you, but I don't know how to keep you.
And then the alarm goes off, and the viewing globe is showing Scorpina.
Well, the command center starts to black out.
Right, because it's draining power.
Trying to find Zordon. And also, Goldar's attacking now.
Right.
We're toward the end now, right?
We're getting towards the end.
Okay. Well, because
this is when Scorpina is attacking.
Right. Okay.
And she looks right at the camera and says something to the effect of like,
Putty Patrollers attack the Power Rangers.
And it is literally
the peas pop the same way.
Like, I am, and I don't want this to sound a little racist, and I know that's always something you say,
that always
right?
precedes something that sounds a little
racist. But I'm wondering if that was another actress in a Scorpina costume.
I don't think it was,
and it just looked exactly the same.
I don't think it was, because they're not. The footage that they showed of Scorpina when she said that looked like giant footage, like the sky was a backdrop.
Right, because it was just on her.
But they weren't fighting giant Scorpina.
No, so
because giant Scorpina is an abomination.
Yes.
Which we will see later.
Yeah. But like, I don't know, because it was its own shot.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah.
Because like it looks like that's what she said, but also the voice didn't entirely match.
Right.
This voice actress was Wendy Lee for Scorpina, who does equally as good of a job.
If that was not just an like American footage, which I don't. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think it was, because the quality of the camera was different.
Yes.
So that did look like. In which case,
here's the funny thing.
God bless you, Wendy Lee.
The actress that plays Scorpina in the original footage, her name is Amy Kawai. With one eye, but still.
Right. Nice. So that was a great mouth match. Then.
It was perfect.
That was
it was basically as good as it could have been.
That was like Barbara Goodson level of matching, which is why Josh looked up who the actor was, because he's like, is that Barbara Goodson too?
Because it sort of sounded like her
a little
like,
bit. I
the
could
next
hear it.
shot, you could kind of hear it was almost Rita.
Yeah,
but no, different person. So
then we cut up to the moon again, where Rita is like primping in the mirror and Squat's holding the.
Well, Goldar says this is a really weird part. I don't know if you wrote it in your notes, but like Scorpina's attacking them and it cuts back up, and Goldar's like, we have to pull her out before she loses too much energy. or something. Like, we have to get her out of there before she's there for too long.
Right.
But then Squat and Babu were like, ooh, could we go watch? And Goldar's like, yeah.
He's like, yeah. And then he just goes over to the telescope and looks down. And then Rita calls her back, like, immediately.
Yep.
And then she comes back, and she's super petulant about it. She's like, I was fine. I was doing fine. Why'd you pull me back? And I like that.
Her and Goldar are arguing in the background, which I like.
I really like how, like...
Gorpina.
Goldina?
Goldar.
Skoldar. Yeah, daddy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I like that. But yeah, she's like... She's wicked mad that they pulled her out.
Because... And the Power Rangers figure it out. Because back in the command center, they're like, man, she's attacking and pulling back. Like, she's waiting for a bigger attack. Because back on the moon, I think at this point is when they talk about
the
eclipsing the sun and sucking out Megazord's power. So, like, Scorpina was sent down there, and in her head, she was going to end them. She was going to murk the Power Rangers.
Right, yeah.
But Rita was like,
finish this tonight.
No, you're just going to distract them while we plan out how we're going to end the Megazord.
Instead of just killing them now, let's make a more complicated way of killing them that they can thwart.
Well, I think Rita's like, I don't think you can kill them, Scorpina. I don't want you to die because I need you later.
I think that might have been Goldar's thing is... When he's like, she can't be down there for too long because anyone who stays with the Power Rangers
the
too
Power
long
Rangers
dies.
will kill her.
Yeah, like
she'll blow up in a puff of confetti and it'll be a mess.
Yeah, and then like there's a lot of discord now between like the Green Ranger and Goldar, and like nobody's getting along right now.
Green Ranger is being punished by staying in the dark dimension.
He's in timeout in the dark dimension. He's just doing katas. Keeping that karate strong.
Yeah, he didn't want to get rusty because he's going to have to fight Jason later.
Right. He wants to be ready for it.
And unmorphed Jason fought him.
And didn't die.
Effectively. He didn't win, but he defended himself effectively. Yeah. Like, so morphed Jason will be a threat, especially with 4 of his best buddies.
Right. Especially with 3 other pretty competent fighters and Billy.
Even though Tommy's already beaten all 5 of them.
I mean... It's sort of like
he didn't beat them, but he forced them to retreat.
Yeah, the more they're used to Tommy's, they're like they're less afraid of him, and they know they can go a little farther every time.
Yeah.
But we go back to the command center, and the Rangers are trying to figure out what is going on, like with the they're distracting us.
Yeah,
they're not
these
really
short attacks with unnecessary retreats.
Yeah, like and then Zordon starts popping back into existence, and then and he's like, Rangers, Rita, plan, yeah, and jump, and they're trying to figure out like they're like, we got to get power to him. We got Billy, if you fix the generator, he's like, I'm working on it, and then it cuts to Goldar because they lose signal on Zordon.
He goes back to snow,
TV
snow,
and then
with some electricity in it,
right? And then it cuts back to Goldar, and he is attacking the city,
downtown Angel Grove.
Yeah, he's attacking downtown Angel Grove
because the alarm goes off, and then Jason's like, "Alpha, what is it?" And he's like, "There's a disturbance in downtown Angel Grove."
Right, and then it's just
like, or you could just look at the viewing globe, you stupid jock. What do you?
It's a dummy. It's right behind you. You know where it is.
Jason's stressed out, so right. I mean,
he just almost died twice. Yeah, so Goldar's attacking the city. Cliffhanger
as a giant.
Yeah, done.
Which we now know that's bait to get Megazord out there,
right?
Because their plan is to eclipse Megazord.
Exactly, but they don't know that.
And
I don't think
they say someone says it might be a trap, and Jason's like, "Well, we don't have a choice. We can't let him wreck the town."
When I was 5, I didn't put together that they were bait. I was just astonished that the plan worked. The next episode, like I didn't really put it together,
right?
Or at least I don't think I did.
Who knows? You might have been smarter than you're giving yourself credit for.
I might have been smarter than I am now.
Maybe
I was definitely better at video games. I'll tell you that much.
I wasn't.
I remember beating Ocarina of Time when I was 11, and now if I get past Jabba Jabba's belly, I buy myself something I don't need. Like I get myself a present for doing it because I'm like, I don't want to carry her anymore.
It's not even hard.
It's difficult for me though. Like
that's weird.
I can play Majora's Mask.
Maybe it's because I just played it like 100 times.
Maybe,
but
like Link to the Past doesn't get me in trouble. But like, there's 3 or 4 areas in Ocarina of Time that I just can't handle.
There are some parts in A Link to the Past that I don't remember when I get to them.
Right.
So I'm like, oh crap.
Great.
Like that whole ice dungeon, I don't know what it's like. I don't know what it
wall.
looks like in there. That's A Link Between Worlds. It's different.
Right. That's all getting.
But yeah, if you're stuck in A Link Between Worlds, listeners, you probably just have to stick to the wall.
Here's what you gotta do: stick to the wall somewhere. Go to as far as you can, and then stick to the wall. Every time, that's how I fixed my problems. So anyway, back to Power Rangers. That's it.
That's it.
That's episode 3.
We get a to be continued on a shot of Goldar and the viewing globe wrecking the city.
Yep. And any final thoughts?
It was pretty good because now the Power Rangers don't have the advantage, but they're not at a drastic disadvantage.
They're not losing.
They've
anymore.
recovered a little bit.
Yeah.
So the rescue is a fitting title because they saved Jason, but also saved themselves a little bit.
Yeah. It's the act structure on the 5 episodes as a whole is really well done in terms of like what happens each episode and how like that is its own act of the greater 5-act series or 5 episode set. So I'm really enjoying that, which means next episode something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah, Megazord gets eclipsed.
Megazord gets eclipsed. So we'll be back tomorrow with another episode.
Yep.
Of the Morphin Grid.
The Morphin Grid. We're going to talk about the next Green with Evil.
Part 4, which I believe is called Megazord Eclipse.
It's Eclipsing Megazord.
Eclipsing Megazord.
It's right on the screen there. If you.
It's behind me. Yeah. So, so in the meantime, morphingrid.tumblr.com. You can email us at littleidiots.morphingrid@gmail.com, or you can talk to us on Twitter at morphingrid, which is, those are all the things. Those are the things we do.
That's the best way to get in touch with us right away because it's connected to both of our phones.
It's connected to both of our phones. If you're on iTunes and you feel like leaving a rating review, that would be swell. It basically the reason that's important is that the more ratings and reviews we have, the more
exposure
we get, because like the way the algorithm works is like it bumps you up.
We only have 2 right now, and they're both great,
but they're both
5 stars.
So,
but it's not enough for iTunes to make an average.
Yeah, it's not a rate. It's like you don't have enough ratings to have one. Which for right now, I'm fine. I'd rather have quality reviews.
Right.
I'd rather have people who like us reviewing it.
Yeah.
I
don't see now after those 2 reviews. I don't see how anyone can not like us. Especially now that we've fixed our production issues.
Yeah.
So we're not going to have that weird tinny segment.
Yeah, where it's me putting my audio through.
I don't know if we ever acknowledged this before.
I think we have, but I'm not sure. Yeah, basically what would happen is there would be like a 2-minute burst of static on what, because we were recording on 2 different tracks on USB mics that worked fine, but not great.
Right.
So there would be like a 2-minute burst where there was no usable audio on one microphone, and so I would have to adjust the audio from the other microphone to raise, like if it was my track that went all screwy, I had to raise my voice in Josh's microphone, and it sounded like garbage.
It sounds like you're talking through a tin can telephone.
And then like 3 minutes later, it would happen on Josh's track, and I have to raise his audio, through mine, and it does the same thing again. But we don't have that problem anymore.
Nope. We use our tax returns to buy a whole new quality professional setup.
Yeah.
It's all on one track now, but we've gotten really good at not talking over each other. So
we've gotten better.
I actually, during this recording, I actually stopped myself from saying anything because you were talking.
I've been doing that too. Now we just need to get Tony to do that when we do the wrestling, you guys. But anyway, that's it for this episode.
That has been podcast.
That's been podcast. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you again. Same Morphin time, same Morphin channel tomorrow. And in the meantime...
Maybe probably not the same time. Who knows with the way iTunes updates.
Right. Same...
And, whenever I get around to uploading it...
Same Morphin channel, definitely.
Absolutely.
All right. But in the meantime, may the power protect you. It was like
that was you ruined everything.